want them to take this opportunity to kind of explain the program and give members especially any new committee members, give them an opportunity to explain what the programs are, how they work, and where the funds go when they're repaid. So, Dr. Edney, thank you for being here. You are recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, committee members. And we're happy to update you mainly on the very important state revolving fund program for providing loans and emergency funding for our community water associations. You have the responsibility of deciding what the state match is going to be every year. And it certainly has been increasing the match requirements. So, Mr. Chairman, we're happy to go over this information in whatever detail that y'all would like. This program dates back to 1997. We've been loaning out funds since 1997, and a lot of good has been done out in our community water associations. This all comes out of the EPA grant funding for safe drinking water for the states. I'm going to skip to here. Before the pandemic, and leading up to the early years of the pandemic, you can see the match on the far right corner, was in a fairly reasonable level. I became your state health officer in 2022, and that was the year that it started really jumping.
Dr. Edney, excuse me real quick. Is there
Yes,
a way we could turn the monitor where I think people can see it okay? It looks like if that's okay, just kind of twist it back over toward there you go. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't want to break it because my budget is tight at the health department. But but you can see it's a 5-to-1 match. So it's a great investment for the state, and it's a great deal for our water associations because these are very low interest loans that are over a long time horizon with opportunities for forgiveness. These are not grants, but it is a very favorable loan program. The average loan duration is 20 years. We can go out to 30 years. If the water program is applying for a loan for something whose infrastructure will outlive the loan. So we can't do a 30-year loan for something that is going to have a shelf life of 20 years. So, but most all of them are typically 20-year terms. The interest rate on the regular loans is less than 2%. So you can see that's pretty close to being a grant, 20-year loan at less than 2%. We do have emergency funding available as well. It's a little bit higher interest, just a little over 2%, has a shorter payback period at 5 years. You can see the second column, the forgiveness can be generous. It can be up to 49%. There's a 26% minimum. So basically all the loans that we give out, 26%, that part are grants. They just have to remain compliant with the terms of the program. There is a 23% discretionary component. And so there's opportunity here for us to provide some incentives to the water associations for decisions, governance issues, policies that the legislature would like to encourage. We could look at that 23% discretionary to increase the amount of loan forgiveness up to a maximum of 49%. You can see we have 57 active projects with awards of $153 million. We have 197 improvement loans, which are our core loans that are in repayment, where we have loaned over $324 million. $158 million of that has been repaid to our conversation, Mr. Chairman. We have $166 million of those projects that are still in payback. We receive about $1.3 million in loan repayment payments each year. $89.5 million has been of the principal that we have loaned out has been forgiven. So significant debt forgiveness for this program. And why has the match been going up? Well, the match has been going up because the funding at the federal level has been going up. If you
Real quick, before
Yes,
you
sir.
get too far past that, I want to make sure I understood how much money have y'all loaned out since 97? Did you give that number?
See, and is that the 324 million, Lee? Like 324 million since 1997 with,
We're receiving about a little over $1 million a year in payments.
right. And then with that, not counting the loan forgiveness component. So
Okay.
that 89.5 million for the life of the program that's been forgiven is money, obviously, that won't come back to the program.
Okay, so 89, that's roughly about 225 million, $230 million that y'all have that will be repaid or has been repaid. What does that money go to?
Like, all back into the program.
Into the
That does not go,
program?
yes, sir, does not come to our budget.
Okay.
And does not go back to the state general fund. It goes back into the program. The loan repayments that we're getting helps to offset the
So of the
forgiveness component.
y'all's request this year is 8.9 million.
Yes, sir.
So you have an additional 1 million and some change on top of that that goes back into the program, or is it, that's not, obviously that's not eligible for match, but
Right.
you have that extra
We do.
pot of money that you can also loan out on top of the match.
That's right. It revolves,
Okay.
that state revolving fund. So goes out, comes back in, recirculates, goes back out. The number that we present to y'all every year is the amount to receive the maximum drawdown from the feds. What the state match has to be to get that full amount that we're eligible for. And this year that's 8.9 million, which you can see is substantially higher than back in 2020 when we were more in the 2 million range. But if you remember what occurred, 2022 range was the infrastructure bill, where a lot of money at the federal level was put into infrastructure at all levels. That included water. So there was a lot more available for states. But to get that, we had to increase our match. It was still, a good deal for the state. And, obviously we don't have to draw the full amount down. If we want to, we give you what's the maximum number. And this year it's at 8.9. The good news is we are looking at the end of that enhanced federal funding. The good news being that the match will go back down. It should go back down in the range of 3 million again, because there won't be as much federal money available to draw down. So that burden of trying to get the maximum match should go down over the next couple of years.
So when you this year, if you match $45 million, we'll have $45 million in the pipeline. Theoretically, if you forgive 25% of it,
Mhm.
you're looking around $33 million. That's going to be continuously revolving back into the fund over a 20-year period that will in perpetuity be revolving through the loan,
That's correct.
through the fund. So how much money do you envision? I mean, it would seem to me you'd be getting more than $1 million back a year on repayment. Is that all you're getting back on repayment, is $1 million from
That's
all the loans that have been circulated and that have come back?
right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Stand corrected. I had my technical expert here. Mr. Chairman, what I know about water is I like mine clean and cold. It's 1.3 per month. My apology.
Okay. So that makes, okay. All right. There you go.
So this is why the match has been high over the last 3 years, and we're at the top, and we'll be coming back down towards what y'all have been used to in years past of what the maximum match would be. The program has ample funding. We do have if y'all remember, a lot of ARPA money was invested into water, and that was all grants. So, all the water associations that had opportunity for ARPA funding pivoted from SRF loans to the grants. Those are running their course. So we expect more demand on the SRF loan program going forward, but we have adequate funding now. Y'all's decision is if you want to continue with the maximum match to get the maximum federal dollars. down at this point. Some things to think about. The EPA is strongly encouraging consolidation at the Water Association level. There is an opportunity for the state to have policy to incentivize consolidation through this program by increasing loan forgiveness for programs that are doing what the state would like for them to do. I will tell you, we have an awful lot of water associations that began back in the 70s, and we're dealing with really old infrastructure we have a lot who have kept up their infrastructure investments, but we have a lot who have not. And we're multiple times a year, we're having water associations collapsing or on the verge of collapse because of really old infrastructure. But I would tell you, for your constituent members, the funds are here. The funds are available for them to invest in their infrastructure through the SRF loan program.
Dr. Edney, how do you, I mean, obviously, water associations have been the topic du jour on the Senate floor in the last week or so. How do you get these water associations that either aren't spending the appropriate money or are reluctant to spend the money in fixing up? Is there any type of standard that y'all are able to hold them to, that if they don't meet that, they're
Yes, sir.
almost?
Yes, sir. They do. They have minimum operational standards.
Yeah.
And we have primacy from the EPA to regulate the Safe Water Drinking Act. So, we enforce the EPA regulations appropriately. But how many? There's over 800. How many water associations? Over 1,000 water associations out there. So it's a chore.
Yeah. Is there a similar to school consolidation? Is there a point at which y'all can force someone to have to consolidate? Is there a process or procedure or an occasion where y'all have had to do this?
We currently do not. Certainly, we don't at the health department. The EPA is getting more and more firm, pushing everybody in that direction. You may remember that with the ARPA water program, there was enhanced scoring for water associations who were already consolidated, or if they were going to consolidate, and that moved them up in the scoring. And I don't think it's going to be very long before the EPA starts having some mandates coming. At this point, we don't have any mandates to enforce.
Okay.
But we do have opportunity for incentive if y'all so chose. Thank you.
Before you walk off real quick, I just want to check with my colleagues. Are there any questions from any of the members? Senator Carter for a question.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. So there's been a question on whether y'all have the spending authority when it comes to these rural water associations to be able to allocate these SRF loans when they apply.
We ask for the appropriate spending authority every year.
Okay.
That has, to my knowledge, has never been an issue. But we have not denied someone a loan because we didn't have spending authority.
Okay. Any other questions on the committee? All right. Thank you, Dr. Edney.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on, the agenda, the first bill, Senate Bill 2824, before you is a committee sub. This deals with certain energy projects and the eligibility for ad valorem exemptions, up to 50%. This basically just extends the date at which projects can be considered. It moves it from 2026 to 2031 and 2030 throughout the bill. Currently, most of the dates are set at 2026 or 2027, so we're just extending the time frame for projects to be eligible for ad valorem tax exemption on certain energy projects. That is the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions? Seeing none, motion to adopt the committee sub.
So moved. Title sufficient.
All right.
To pass committee
Motion that
sub.
we adopt the committee sub. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. Any other further comments or questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Next is Senate Bill 2867. Senator Boyd, you're recognized to explain the bill. This committee sub, I'm sorry.
I'm good. Senate Bill 2867 is a revision of a bill that we passed about 3 years ago that was designed to give employers tax credits if they helped contribute to childcare funds. That program did not work the way that we had it. So we've worked with the business community. We've revamped this program. It was far too difficult and far too complicated. So we revised some of the ways we've done this. We've worked with the Business Alliance very much in doing this. And we have a proposed change to this code section. So what it does is it allows a 50% income tax credit can be granted to an employer providing dependent care for employees during the employee's work hours and to any employer who provides child care stipend of at least $2,000 per child for a direct payment made to a licensed child care entity. Also, we make sure that the credit allowed doesn't exceed $3,000 per year for each child of a participating employee. So basically, if somebody has about $6,000 in childcare, this is a 50% tax credit with this. Where it really cannot exceed the $3,000 in this. So that would be kind of the explanation of the bill. We've also made sure that it has to be a licensed childcare provider that is registered with the Department of Health. And it has to be on their registry as well. So we've made sure that it's quality childcare in the process. And I think there is an amendment you have, Mr. Chairman, up there that would put a limit of how much this would, childcare, the total credit amount would be allowed for.
It's in the committee sub.
Okay. All right, y'all got the committee sub. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it puts $1 million cap on this, and we'll see how the program works to see if we get more employers signed up for this. But after working with the business community, they think this will make sure that we'll get the employers more involved in doing this.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Boyd. Are there any questions? Senator Bryan for a question.
Clearly, childcare is not my area of expertise, but I believe it to be the case that we have money that comes to us from the federal government that can be used for childcare. And we have been sending the money back and not using it. It's just the case that a lot of people who work need childcare in order to work. That's just a fact. If you're looking at reasons people are not in the workforce, lack of childcare is one of the real reasons that actually keeps people from being in the workforce. Maybe they should find some other way, maybe this, maybe that, but in the real world, the lack of affordable childcare keeps people from participating in the workforce, which we hear about all the time. What we're doing here, and I don't object to this, this is taking state funds out of the Treasury to try to produce childcare. But they're federal funds that could be used for childcare for the same purpose that I think we're not doing through some misguided effort that I don't know. And it's one of a number of situations, Mr. Chairman, where I worry that we're not taking a comprehensive approach and we're doing 3 different things in 3 different places without any coordination among the 3. Maybe this is something that the chair of the Senate Public Health and Welfare Committee should have been doing all these years, maybe that's the problem. I don't know where to turn, and I'm seriously not an expert on this, but I think that at this session of the legislature, we need to look more carefully at if there are not funds available for childcare. And as you know, and my understanding is that we had a number of childcare operations which were set up and ongoing and being funded through some of the temporary funding that we had. That funding ran out. A number of childcare slots just up and disappeared. And at a minimum, some of those childcare slots could have been filled with existing funds over at Human Services. And having said that, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure I've got that right, but I'm sure enough to know that we ought to be looking into that.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Boyd, you have any comment?
I think this is just, Senator Bryan's correct, but I think we're trying a lot. Yes, Senator Bryan's correct.
Twice in 2 weeks?
I think this is just one aspect of this. We've passed one piece of legislation. I don't know if y'all are familiar. It's subject to appropriation. It's a tri-share model. The governor's office asked us to look at that was done in other states. This legislative body gave 15 million last year in childcare vouchers because of that gap that was coming from the federal government where they were no longer going to pay for that. So we subsidized that. There's a number of programs, and I think there's some legislation that we had to really look at more TANF funding be spent in this direction. This is a complex problem. And I do like the option when our employers get involved in this as well. There was a press conference yesterday, and I think one of the speakers aptly stated this on childcare is that we have to have roads and bridges to travel to work, but for the family, they also have childcare to make sure that they can get there too. So it's part of the infrastructure of work in this state, particularly when we look at, and I always say this statistic, but we have a large number of single mothers that are in the workforce in the state. They are working at 20 points higher than the general population. And those single mothers have to have childcare. And so we see a lot of our employers that are really trying to help do this. We see Toyotas, we see a number, Sanderson Farms, we see a number of those programs trying to be implemented. And I think this is just one more thing that we help to assure up and make sure that workforce is there. So thank you. I'm not in the committee, so I can't make any motions. So thank
All
you.
right, we'll get somebody, Senator Barrett, you have a question?
Yeah, question, Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized.
Chairman Boyd, it seems like I vaguely remember the amount was that we initially passed was maybe a $6,000 credit or voucher. And what these changes would do would drop the 6,000 to 2,000 with a $3,000 cap. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is this intended to, I guess, get more participants involved?
That is what the Business Alliance, who's really, and I really have to compliment them, spent a long time researching with their surveying the business and industry community to see at what point and what threshold they would participate with. And that's what this is designed to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Senator. Any further questions? All right, seeing none for a motion. All right, the motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. Next is Senate Bill 3109. We'll recognize Senator Blunt to explain the bill.
Thank you,
Please,
Mr. Chairman. This is a very simple bill. It affects LaFleur's Bluff State Park, which is off I-55 North. That park, I believe, is the first in the state to have entered into management lease with a nonprofit. The nonprofit is the LaFleur's Bluff Conservancy. A lot of people have raised a lot of private money to make that park better are now managing the property, but the current law would require them to pay the property taxes on the leasehold interest. And obviously, this is publicly owned. It's a state park. So what the bill would do is say that the nonprofit that is managing the property would not be required to pay property taxes on the land. That's an explanation of the committee substitute. I'm happy to yield for any questions.
All right. Are there any questions? Any
If there are no
from the
questions,
committee?
I would move adoption of the committee sub, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to rise and report. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no.